Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new video. Today we're gonna talk about a game different than Dota. I know, it's insane. But today I'm gonna go through Super Mario Bros. You know, that really old Nintendo game. The first one in the series. And you might be wondering, why am I doing this? Like, what? Well, why should this video even exist? Like, I ask myself every day. And the answer to that is, I recently tried to complete a run. And, you know, it's a hard game, to be fair. It's a really hard game, especially if you want to try to speedrun it. And it took me about 4 days of playing it regularly to finally be able to beat it. And you might be wondering, hey, I mean, it's hard, but it shouldn't take like more than 8 hours or whatever I put into it. And the reason it took that long for me was because I basically had to lab out a lot of things. And you know, it's a bit confusing. And you know, there are a lot of tutorials, but they're all focused on speed and not consistency. The easiest tutorial I found was still really inconsistent. It had a lot of like somewhat difficult tricks. So today I thought I would go over the easiest way to beat Super Mario Bros. And you know, basically a tutorial on how to get sub 10 minutes, which is really easy, to be fair. To sub 10 minutes is basically just completing the game at a normal rate. But whatever, let's get into it. So the first thing you want to do is set up the entire game. So I'm using Nestopia. I have a link for it in the description. You do need an ISO, basically the game, to be able to run it. But anyways, let's get into it. Okay, so this is World 1. I'm using a keyboard. I would also recommend you guys use a keyboard. It's a lot easier than controller. And you know, yeah. I mean, if you have a NES controller, you can maybe use it, but still, I highly recommend using a keyboard. It works fine. So, World 1 is pretty simple. There aren't really many huge issues. Just make sure you have the sprint key bound. And then, when you get to the second tall pipe after these Goombas right here, just go down. It's honestly, it's the simplest stage. There aren't really any ways to mess it up. There aren't any, like, you don't need to do any special strats or anything. Just get through it. It's basically just there to waste your time. Okay, then we have World 1-2. Again, it's pretty simple. You can just jump through all of this. Here the tricky part comes. You wanna, I mean, there are many ways to go about this. The easiest way to get through this part is just to wait for the Goomba, jump on it, get the shell, and then just run along it. You can like stand in these areas where you can jump and just wait out the Goombas. Don't stress through it. Just, I mean, take your time and you'll be fine. And here, just wait this out. There's no need to do like fancy jumps to get through them. And here, you can wait for them to walk down and then jump over them. And then here, these platforms can be a bit tricky when you're starting out, but honestly, yeah, it's not that difficult. And here, you saw what I did. You just follow the platform up, and then you jump on top of this little like roof here. It's also pretty simple. And then it's just go down here to this little warp zone, go to the 4 pipe, and you'll warp to World 4. So here's where the tricky part starts. In this area, I would honestly recommend just doing one thing, and that is sprint through it. I know it might seem difficult, like you probably clicked on this video because, you know, you want an easy strat, but this is honestly the easiest way to beat this level. And you see these jumps I'm doing over these piranhas right there. They look really difficult, but they're really easy when you get into it. It's honestly a pretty like safe timing, and you just run for everything. I mean, yeah, you run for everything, that's it. And you won't even have to deal with the cloud. Just hold on, sprint and right and jump above like all obstacles. It seems really difficult, but it's honestly, yeah, it's one of the most easiest parts of the game. So this is where the hard part begins. First of all, we have a kinda hard jump here. Just hold right and sprint and jump. Then we have these Goombas right here. The safe way to beat them is just to walk right, let them spawn, and then jump back over here to this little platform. And you can just wait them out. No need to like get fancy and jump over them. If you just want to beat the game, this is the easiest way. Okay, so in this next area, there are these platforms that slowly go down. You can jump to the right, but don't go any further. Don't go any further. You can go to the third and the fourth block right here, and then simply walk around now and get to this block right here. That thing on the top. There's no way to go around this strat. I mean, there is one, but it's really difficult. Easiest way, just spawn these blocks in right here, jump to that block right there, and then just get up to the vine. It looks really difficult, that jump right there, but it's honestly not that hard. Hold up on the vine and you'll be fine. I mean, there are a lot of fancy tricks in this world. It's probably the hardest world in the game, or the hardest like stage. But there's no need to get fancy when you're starting out. Just get up here and then select the 8th pipe. Okay, so I actually lied earlier. This is the hardest like world. The 8th world is really difficult. And honestly, there aren't that many tricks either. You just gotta get through it. Just, be patient, don't like stress over anything. Just walk to the right. I mean, it is a difficult stage, you won't get it first try, but just jump over everything, that's it. After a while you'll learn where everything spawns, and then it will be a lot easier. Here is one of the only like sections where you can actually do a couple of tricks. So if you just wait it out, these paratroopers will jump down every time. So you can just wait either in the corner here or up here for them to jump down, and then you can move on. So there is some like somewhat tight platforming here, but I mean, just be patient, wait for them, and just jump. It's honestly that simple. I know it might seem a bit condescending right now, but just focus a lot and you'll be fine. Right here, you can almost do a full sprint jump, but you gotta slow down at some point. It looks really hard, but again, a couple of tries and you will be able to get it every time. Right here is actually a quite tricky part. What you gotta do is stand on this block right here, hold down right, jump, and you'll be fine. But you gotta hold down the sprint as well. So just stand there, hold down sprint, jump, and then as soon as you land, jump again. And you'll get through World 8-1. Okay, 8-2, this is another quite hard stage. What I recommend you do is stand right here on this block right here, the third one, and the paratrooper will just jump above you. Just make your way through here. It's not that difficult, you can ignore the spring and everything. Here is another somewhat difficult part. You gotta jump over this thing. I usually stomp on it because I feel like that's a bit easier. But honestly, just try to jump over everything. There aren't really any fancy tricks, just wait and jump over everything. Right here, my only tip is to go high. Try to stay as high on everything as you can. So always stay on the top part and you'll be pretty much safe. Just stay on top of everything. Okay, so right here there's a trick as well. You're pretty much safe here, so don't like stress anything. But what you wanna do is stand on the back of this pipe, hold down sprint, get ready, and then... Okay, so right here there's a trick as well. Get rid of this Koopa Troopa, it can be quite annoying. And then you wanna stand on the low ground right here, build up some speed. I'm actually gonna start behind here. And just build up speed, and then you can clear the gap pretty easily. It looks really wide, but it's not that bad. Just make your way through it. Just jump over everything. There aren't really any real hazards right here. Right here, stand on the first block and you'll be fine. This jump is somewhat tight, but again, there aren't any real tricks. You just gotta jump your way through it. So, 8-3. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm pretty sure there aren't really any 100% consistent ways to get through this stage. I mean, the first part is pretty easy. But my advice for you is to jump down here, load in both of the hammer bros, and then jump back up here. You'll be fine. And then you wait for both of them to leave the top platform, so you can continue. run over the top platform like I did right there, and just jump down. Here, there is another safe space right here, a safe zone. And just do the same thing again. Just jump down, load in both the hammer bros so you can see them clearly, and then wait for both of them to jump down. Then you can go over them, like that. Okay, so this part right here is the only part that I have honestly no real idea how to do. I usually run, and you know, if they jump I try to run under them, but if they don't jump I jump over them. And you'll see what I mean. But honestly it's mostly just instinct as far as I'm aware. And you know, reacting fast. So no one jumped there, that's the luckiest like case. Here, some tight platforming, it's fine, it's not that difficult, but yeah, you're probably gonna fall down there once or twice. Okay, if you made it this far, you have done a really good job. I would say the hardest part is over. So, here, I would simply walk down to the lowest like staircase here, jump over with full sprint, and you'll be fine. So, World 8-4 is actually a bit special, because you can't just run to the right. It's like a maze, you gotta take like special paths. So, right here, the first pipe you encounter after like the lava moat right here, is the pipe you wanna take. Just go down this and you'll progress to the next stage. Okay, this part right here is somewhat difficult. I would just wait for these like beetles to move out of the way, so you don't have to deal with them. And then just jump over everything. Right here is the second part that you gotta keep in mind. You gotta move, you can wait this out, I would honestly just kill them like that. And then move 2 blocks to the right of the pipe and jump, and you'll discover like a hidden block. And then just go into the pipe. This is the second like warp gate you gotta go through. So here there are these like fishes that jump up. They're not that difficult. So right here, you just gotta be patient. These fishes don't really do any harm, they're not that hard to avoid, and it's a quick level. Just jump over the lava right here and go down this pipe. Now we got to the water world. This is also really simple. It can be a bit difficult to control at first, but just hold right, wait for this like lava beam to go an entire like, what do you call it, an entire way around, and then simply swim below everything. It's not that difficult. Or you don't even need to swim, you can just walk through everything and get through the pipe. Now, this is probably the hardest part of the entire game. So I'm actually just gonna set up a little save state right here. You know, at this part there isn't like a lot you can do. There is of course a speedrunning trick, like there is to everything, but it's somewhat difficult, so I just recommend waiting up here, waiting for him to jump, and then jumping over him, and then jumping over to the next stage. This is the hardest like section of the entire game, which is quite annoying because it's at the end of the run. So what I recommend you do is not doing what I'm doing right here. I would recommend as soon as you get over to him, just go under him and wait for him to jump forwards. Oh. Okay, so what you do at this fight right here is you go as close... Oh, what's happening? Okay, I don't know what happened there, but anyways. What you do is you go as close to him as possible without getting hit, like this. He has a huge hitbox, so be careful about that. And then as soon as he jumps forward, you run under him. Like that. And congrats, you completed the game. You know, I'm not saying you should be able to do this first try. It wouldn't be an interesting run if that were the case. It might take you maybe 3-4 hours of tries. But now you should at least know what you should do. So, you've been able to complete the game. You might wanna, you know, try to make a run. Or you might want to start by having a timer and splits. So, my best advice is to download Live Splitter. Below, I have a link for it. And I'm gonna open it up right here. Give me a second. There we go. So, I've set up this. And there will be a tutorial in the description. But there is actually a way to set up an auto splitter, so that it does all the splitting for you. Which is really nice, you don't have to like care about it at all. But yeah, if you want to start running this game, make sure you're using Nestopia, because it's the only accepted emulator, that you have a functioning splitter, because you don't want to get to the last level and realize it fucked up. And you know, yeah, just have fun. It's honestly a really fun game. It can be quite frustrating at times, because, you know, it's 2D, it seems simple, it's not. it's a quite short game, which means it's gonna be quite difficult. And the absolutely hardest part of this game, when you're trying to learn to speedrun it, is the fact that if you die 3 times at like any point, you have to reset the entire run. But here's the thing, if you're using Nestopia, you can do what I did while recording this. What you can do is simply set up save states. It's really easy to do with Nestopia, you'll figure it out. And you know, it's gonna make your whole experience a lot more enjoyable. You should try to aim to beat every stage at least like a quarter of the tries, because then you'll be able to complete a full run in like 16, maybe 20 attempts, maybe 50, it depends on you. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, subscribe, I don't know, do whatever you want, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.